Continuing with the story, he first went to his eldest son. His name was Yadu. Children of Yadu later came to be known as Yadava. Sri Krishna was born in that family. So Yayati went and told that, okay, look, exchange your youth with my old age, and let me enjoy life for 1,000 years, and after that I'll exchange it. Then again you become young, I become old. And Yadu got extremely annoyed. He says, look, in old age people can't even digest properly, can't even eat properly. And your hair, beard and mustache, everything becomes grey. Body becomes slow. Body is full of wrinkles. You can't even work properly. Worse, the young, beautiful ladies, they always have a disdainful look towards you. They don't even look at you. So insulting. Even the servants and household helps, they don't care for you. So, I will never exchange my youth with your old age. And by the way, you have quite a few sons, you try someone else, not me. Straight away. And Yayati was very upset that, look, you're born of me, you're my eldest son. Okay, I also curse you in turn. Under no condition your children will ever be king. So that's why Sri Krishna was not the king. Sri Krishna could never become king. He was under curse. And later in Mahabharata this topic will come. They'll say that why you are worshipping Krishna? He can't even be a king because of the curse. So then he went to the number 2, Turvasu. Same thing. He says, come on, Papa. All my beauty, all my glamour, my handsomeness will be ruined completely. Even the intellect goes away. The vitality goes away. Now this hurt. Yayati says, your family line will stop. I mean, when you get married, either you won't have children, or if they have children, you have children, they won't have children. Your family line will stop. So Turvasu's line never carried forward. And worse, he says that you yourself will never be king of anything noble. You will belong to, you will rule over unclean people like Mlech and all. And then he went to Sharmishta's son. He also said something like that. See, old man, he can't even climb an elephant. He can't ride an elephant. He doesn't even have control over his speech. No, I don't want. So, Yayati cursed him also. Then there was Anu, that number 2. He also told something like that. And finally, last was the youngest, Puru. Puru was young, and when he heard his father talk like that, Puru agreed. He says that, see, Papa, whatever you ask from me, I'll definitely do. I'm ready to take your old age, and I'm ready to give back my youth. And then he says that if somebody can make his teacher, Gurujan is elder, elder means both. It means teacher, it also means the elder in the family. That includes parents. Says a person can satisfy his Gurujan, the elders, he acquires everything. I just want your blessings. So Puru, young man, he becomes old overnight. And so he goes away to the forest. Because now he cannot enjoy the world. He is old. Now, Yayati was once again young. This idea of the desire to be young, desire to enjoy the world, it's something very old in India. Quite often when the Europeans came first, particularly the British and all, they picked up some of our books, and India always had problem with climate, particularly monsoon. So the life in India depends a lot on climate. And because not even climate, it's forces of nature. Like if you look at Europe, their main problem is winter. And winter, if you fight against winter, your body becomes hardy. And you can protect yourself against winter. In India, the problem is either you have too much of water, too little of water, and things like that. And as you can see, you can do nothing against it. If it's going to rain and rain and rain, you cannot stop it. And if it's not going to rain, that also you cannot change. And so, Indians somehow, they tended to surrender themselves to the divine will. That makes an onlooker think that we are fatalists. We believe in our fate. We believe that whatever comes, comes. Let's not even try to change. No, India was not really like that. We do have the idea of submission to the Lord's will, and we know that we cannot fight nature. But at the same time, that does not mean that India did not want to enjoy life. And often we find that the great kings and anybody, like there were sages, there are sages and there are saints who want to enjoy life. So what they do is sometimes they enter the body of an animal and go to enjoy the animal pleasures. So it's not something people think about India and Indians that we never knew how to enjoy life. Nothing like that. And then Yayati enjoyed life like anything. And then suddenly he had that sense of guilt and said, what I'm doing? Just to enjoy myself. I passed on my old age to my son. This is wrong. So he found out his son. He says, let's exchange. He says, famous verse we had earlier also mentioned. Yatha kamam yathotsaham yatha kalam arindavam. That see, I have enjoyed life. But najatu kama kamanam upabhogena shamyati. If you want to conquer enjoyment, don't get into enjoyment. If you think by enjoying the world, you can overcome the desire for enjoyment, no. Desires can never be overcome through enjoyment. If you really want to overcome desires, you need to get out of it. And the example given is, if you want to quench the fire, don't pour fuel into it. Yat pritibhyam prihiyavam ranyam pasavasriya. The entire wealth of the world, all the grains, all the animals, all the gold, all the females, all these things cannot satisfy the desire of one single person. Much later a question will be asked, what is that? That keeps on growing as you, what is it? It's about fire. That, I'm just forgetting the exact words. Something talks about that fire keeps on growing. It never stops. It never stops. So, says, the desire. What is the nature of desire? If you want, you can write down. It says, nature of desire is number one. People with unclean mind can never give up desires. Number one. People with unclean mind, that means impure mind, you can say. People with impure minds can never give up desire. Number two. A person can get old, but desires never get old. A person may get old, but desires never get old. And number 3, desire is the disease that takes away life. It's worse than cancer. It's worse than any other kind of disease that you can think of. So it defines desire on 3 lines. The first one is that unless you are established in purity, you cannot give up desire. Number 2, a person may get old, may become old, but his desires never become old. And lastly, it's a dangerous disease that will take away your life, that leads you to death. And he says that, see, for 1,000 years I've been enjoying life. And even now my desires are not quenched. I still want to enjoy. No, I cannot do it anymore. Now I will withdraw my mind and apply my mind only to God. And once I apply to my mind to God, that is the only way to get out of desires. See, when we have been studying Gita, there also we were discussing that there is just no way that you can get out of desires. Whatever you may try, the only way to conquer desires is apply your mind to God. Unless you get into the spiritual mode, you cannot conquer desires. And if you cannot conquer your desires, these are the problems that you will face. Your mind will remain impure, so your decisions will be wrong. You can go on getting old, your desires will never get old. And lastly, it will lead you to death. So, okay, fine, Guru, here is your youth. And Yayati then gave his entire kingdom to Puru. So now questions were raised that you have 2 sons from the first marriage and there are 2 elder ones. Why it's being given? Now, here comes that idea where it says that there is a term called put. Earlier also we crossed the term put. Say put is hell. And putra, the Sanskrit term for son, he takes you out from this put. Put also means the rotten. And says that put is some kind of desires. Put is also the pain that is within. And the son takes you out of that pain. Then what about daughter? Yes, daughter also. Daughter is putri, putra and putri. And the root for both the terms is put. Both your son, unlike son and daughter, which have different roots in English, in Sanskrit their roots are same. Put and putri. The roots are common, put, which basically means pain. Put comes from the word pain, which can be internal pain, it can be external pain. If it is internal pain, that is something we all understand. If external pain, it's equated with hell. Says that son, that means your offspring, he or she is responsible for taking you out of that pain. See, a person, howsoever tired, howsoever devastated he might be, the moment he sees the face of his son or daughter, he regains strength. And as I say that put is pain, whether be it inner life or be it external life. Your son, your daughter takes you out of that, and that's why it's putra. Says, my other sons, they did not care for me. Puru cared. And hence, whatever property I have, it goes to him. And what Yayati did was, he gave up all that he had. He went to a deep forest and dedicated himself to intense tapasya. And he went to such intense tapasya that that once he died, he straight away went to the heaven where Indra himself was there. So there are different layers of heaven. The highest heaven is considered to be the heaven where Indra himself is there. Indra is the king of gods, and he is there. So Indra welcomed him. Says, you have performed such intense austerities, such tapasya. Your mind has been so fixed with God. You have controlled your mind and body and everything so well that you deserve to be in this heaven. Welcome, welcome. And it says that, tell me, Indra asks, tell me, when you gave your kingdom to your son, you must have given him certain basic instructions. Tell me what instructions you gave. So, Yayati talks about some of the basic instructions that he gave, which discusses values. But the most important thing that Yayati mentions here is that, said, Puru, never get angry. Never get angry. He says, Akrodhana krodhanebhyo visishtas tata titikshur atitikshor visishtaha. Person who doesn't get angry is superior to person who gets angry. Person who has forbearance is superior to persons who do not have forbearance. And compared to all living beings, human beings are superior. And of all the human beings, the learned are the most superior. So if a person is learned and he has forbearance, he doesn't get angry, nothing like him. This is what I told my son. Says that if somebody insults you, if somebody hurts you, bear it within you. Why? Because once you bear it within you, you will also have pain within you. You will have hurt, you will have anger. Mind it. That pain, that anger will burn the other person down. This is something India has always believed and practiced. Don't retaliate. Keep it within yourself. The hurts that you get, the pain that you get, that will generate some kind of anger within you. But that anger is under control. Now this anger, because it's under control, it's not coming out, so it will just go out of your psyche and harm that person. On the other hand, if you let loose your temper, it's going to harm you in many different ways. And as Mahabharata progresses, we'll be coming across many such episodes where people were destroyed because of their anger. So it says that this is a very favorite idea that Mahabharata and even our Manu uses. The person who by nature is rude, who uses rude words, who uses harsh words, know that that person is Shrihin. He is without Lakshmi. He will never have prosperity. He is without he can never be prosperous. Such a person can never be prosperous. And the way you carry a big load on your back, and that load disturbs you exactly like that, if your words are harsh, know that you are carrying a female evil spirit on your tongue. Unknown to yourself, female, the term is Pishachini. Pishachini basically means evil spirit, female's evil spirit. Pishachini can ruin somebody's life. They used to say that in the dark, in the forest, if there is some evil spirit, if it catches you, it will ruin you completely. So you have to stay away from that. But if you are carrying, if you have harsh words, if your tongue is not under control, know that you are carrying that evil spirit on your tongue. It's enough to ruin you. So that persons who use harsh words, persons who use scathing words, Such persons are continuously shooting arrows of words towards others. And those words, like arrows, go and give pain to others, towards whom it's directed. And ultimately that comes back to you to haunt you. So never use harsh words. Says the Indian ideal. Indian ideal is gentleness. See, when somebody asks you, what's the sign of culture? How do you define culture? Culture means when you become gentle. The opposite of culture is barbarians. How do you define barbarians? Like you might have read, when you read the history of the world, you will often find that Romans were fighting the barbarians. Barbarians are characterized by their cruelty. What about the cultured? Cultured are invariably gentle. That way Indians traditionally have been extremely gentle, and so have been Chinese. Only in recent times, things are changing a bit here and a bit there. But in general, cultured people will always be gentle, and says that you have to be gentle and you have to be friendly towards all, even towards animals and birds. Use sweet and soft words. Make gifts. That is the way to happy life. Those of you who might have read Carving a Sky, the book Carving a Sky, they will see that the goal of life is inclusiveness. You need to be as inclusive as you can be. And to be inclusive means to feel that others are one with you. And if you feel that others are one with you, the way you treat your family member, the way you treat your own, you have to treat the entire world exactly like that. And what do? You never use harsh words. You never hurt anybody. Make gifts to them whenever possible. On your birthday, don't celebrate. Don't celebrate your birthday in such a way that you yourself will be enjoying. Take the money out, go, gift it to poor, gift it to the needy. But see, the culture has changed. Till the other day, some years ago, we knew that whenever there was a birthday of somebody, they would gift grains equal their weight, or coins, silver coins, and kings would give silver coins and gold coins. But nowadays, birthday party means birthday bash, they say. They will be inviting their own, and they will be spending so much of money and wasting so much of money. Things are changing, India, from the ideals of inclusiveness, somehow moving towards exclusiveness, and we don't know what will be its consequences. But you just look at Mahabharata, at every step it will talking about inclusiveness, says, this is what I taught my son. And that was the chapter number 87 of Gita Press. The next chapter describes how Yayati now fell from the heaven because of the sheer arrogance that he had. So Yayati's story is again very interesting. Initially, he got trapped by Sharmishta. And then he had that curse, and then he exchanged, and then he did tapasya, and we went to the heaven. And now Indra curses him, and he falls down from the heaven. This we will take up in the next class.